Morning, Kate here, bringing you this week's Monday Mission. Oh, I hope you had the best holiday ever. We are in that awkward stage now, though, between Christmas and New Year's, where we kind of don't know what day of the week it is, and we're just, really kind of run down from all the hustle and bustle. And this is the time of year when we naturally start to reflect on the year, right? And in doing that, we often can kind of go down these negative spirals, these negative rabbit holes, right? This is when we start to should all over ourselves, right? We should have lost the weight. We should have done this. We should have done that. It's kind of, getting us down that path of looking at all the things we didn't accomplish in the year, right? Or that we wish were different, or that we recognize are still the same. Oh, another year's gone by and this is still the situation, right? So I thought today I would share with you 10 questions to ask yourself that will lead to much more productive thought patterns, right? So remember, I talk a lot about asking the right question because our brain will answer any question that we offer it, you know. So if we can ask better questions, we will lead our brains down much more productive and healthy thought patterns that will result in answers that are just going to improve us and help us be our better selves. So we're going to talk about that today with our mission, and then next week I'll actually get into some habit formation information. So we're going to talk about how not to make resolutions, right? Why they're unsuccessful, and maybe how to look at it. We'll look at it from the lens of habit formation. So that'll be next week. But this week I'm going to give you these 10 questions to ask yourself. So the first one is asking yourself what gave you energy this year. Okay, what kinds of things gave you energy? So this could be thinking about food. This could be thinking about working out. This could be what part of your job, what role in your job really gave you energy this year, what really fired you up, what relationships gave you energy, friendships, maybe relationships with family. Now that we're, able to be back together, maybe you recognize and realize that you get some really great energy from different relationships in your life. So asking yourself what gave you energy, but then also asking what took your energy away. Okay, and same kind of thing. This could be around food. This could be around working out, your job, your relationships. What took energy away? Maybe you realize that small talk really just kind of drains your energy. Or, I've noticed that when I eat gluten, lots of bread and pasta, I feel really sluggish the next day. So that's something that takes your energy away. And just thinking about all of those different things that either give you energy or take any energy away. And when you're thinking about things that take your energy away, this may be a sign to show you where you want to start setting some boundaries, right? So it might be some information there, right? It's going to lead to really great answers that give you data, okay? Next question to ask yourself is, how did you show up for yourself? How did you show up for yourself this year? Did you set a boundary and stick to it? Did you speak up for yourself at work? Did you share that thing that you were scared to share with your partner? Whatever it is, how did you show up for yourself? Okay, this can be data and signs and show you where you're really strong, where you either grew this year or had showed those signs of strength. And then ask yourself, how didn't you show up for yourself, right? Did you try to set a boundary and it just, it just didn't go through, it didn't stick? Did you have trouble keeping it? Or did you just never set the boundary that you realized that you wanted to? Did you kind of let things happen at work and not, try to manage them? Whatever it might be, think about the times this year that you didn't show up for yourself. And there's no judgment here, right? There's curiosity. Curiosity is the opposite of judgment. We're not judging our answers to any of these questions. We're just curious. I wonder why I didn't show up for myself, right? And then just go down that questioning, that line of questioning, and you may come up with some really great answers to give you that data for next time to show how you can show up for yourself in that situation. Next question is, what is something that you wish you made more time for? And this can show you where you want to prioritize your time where to spend that time in the new year. You know, a lot of us can really put things that are important to us on the back burner. Okay, so if I ask you, what do you wish you made more time for this year? You may say, myself, right? My self care. The things I know that I need to do for myself to feel good and feel my best were really kind of put on the back burner. So just ask yourself, and again, be curious. Why did I put them on the back burner? Why weren't they a priority? And how can I change that going into next year? The next one is, what do you want to learn this upcoming year? What is something that you want to learn? Is it a new way of cooking, a new recipe? Is it learning how to open up an Etsy shop, how to write a book? Or is it just learning how to be more playful? Mine is, I want to learn how to play pickleball. I don't know why. I think it's because Brene Brown's obsessed with it. And I just hear about it all the time. So that's something that I want to learn in the new year. So just, if time weren't an issue and money weren't an issue and you had all the time in the world, what would you want to learn? And then the next question is, well, I wonder how I could do that. How could I incorporate that in? Okay. These questions are just a really great way to get to know yourself. Another one is, what story does your inner voice tell you? Okay, so I talk a lot about awareness. What stories are we telling ourselves about things? What meaning are we attaching to other people or situations or things that are going on in our life? And so this is a really great question to figure out what kind of story and inner voice you're having. Is it really negative? Is it a really critical inner voice? Or, do you find that your inner voice is really supportive and, you're not finding that you're criticizing yourself? Either way, it's really an interesting question to ask. What kind of story you're telling yourself about different things? What is that inner critic saying to you? What is that voice saying to you over and over and over again? And then again, questions from there will lead to really great information about how can I, if this is a really critical voice, a critical story that I'm telling myself over and over again, how do I interrupt it and how do I change the story? So it's going to give you some really great information. Next question is, what is a time that this past year that you overcame something that you didn't think it was something that you were going to be able to handle and you came through it on the other side? What this will do is it helps you to build up your self-trust inventory. Okay, so we've talked about that before, like this running inventory of the times where you showed up for yourself, the times where you overcame a hardship, you did something that you didn't think that you were going to be able to do, you survived something that you didn't think you were going to be able to survive, and then you can put that into this self-trust inventory so that when you are faced with a hardship again, because we're going to be, right, or you're faced with a similar situation, you can look back on that inventory and be like, you know what, I've been here before, I proved I could do it at this time, and so that's evidence that I'm going to be able to do it this time too. Okay, now our last one is looking at joy. Looking over the past year, what types of things took joy away from you? Okay, is it a certain part of your job? Was it cleaning the house? Right? What takes joy away? Okay, now some things are obviously, yes, we have to have a clean house, but you could ask yourself, the next question would be, well, what can I do about it? Well, I know this lady who helps out in cleaning houses, and I wonder if I could afford to do it once or twice a month. Just something to help take that off my plate a little bit, right? So it leads to better questions rather than the reflection over the past year being, wow, God, your house was so awful and horrible. That's our resolution going. We're going to have a clean house. We're going to have a spotless house every day of the week. Not realistic, right? But if you ask yourself what took joy away and you realize that you hate cleaning, what could you figure out? Can I come up with a schedule where I just do a little bit each day? Can I have someone actually come in and clean the house for me? Could I delegate more responsibilities to people that live in the house with me to keep the house clean? It gets your brain thinking of different questions and going down different paths. And then the last one is to ask, what brought you joy? Okay, what did bring joy into your life over the past year? Is it time spent with friends? Then that's a sign that we need to make more time for that, make that a priority. Is it that day that you had to yourself because for whatever reason you were off and the kids were in school? Was that a time that really filled you back up? and brought you a lot of joy? Or was it that activity you did with the family that just brought you a ton of joy? This can be where you focus on for the next year. Okay, because your next question is going to be, how can I do that again? How can we increase that? How can I bring more of that back into my life, rather than shooting all over yourself when you're reflecting on the last year, right? These questions are going to really open up more productive, healthier lines of questioning and thinking that can get you into knowing where you want to prioritize your time, things that you do, your energy. It's going to give you a lot of great information. And then, like I said, we can kind of use your answers to those questions will show up next year or next week when we talk about habit formation. Okay, so that's your mission. Should you choose to accept it, is to ask yourself these 10 questions, jot them down, really give yourself an idea of where you want to focus for 2022. All right, well, I hope you're having a great day. As always, share with me anything comes up, and we'll talk soon. Bye.